Hello out there. Today we are going to be talking about another aspect of the confusing words that we have in the English language. Today we will be looking at being and been. The word is pronounced being and this one been. And we'll notice that so many people have these two words, confuse them whenever they make use of the English language, either while speaking or while writing. Now the question is, how do you know which to use and when? Okay, now, first of all, you should know that the both belong to something known as the auxiliary verbs. The both of them belong same place. They are auxiliary verbs. Okay, and now, under the auxiliary verbs, we have verbs to have, we have verb to be, we have verbs to do. Now, under these verbs to have, this is where you have, has, had. Under the verbs to be, this is where you have, there are about 8 of them. You have be, is, are, was, were, am, been. These are the verbs that you have here. And under the verbs to do, this is where you have do, did, and the rest of them. All right. Now, whenever you are talking about this, how do you know which one to use? Listen, for this particular one, the being, this is the being. This is a verb to be in the progressive tense form. If you remember when we treated progressive tenses, we talked about present progressive and past progressive. Now, the progressive aspect of the tenses, that's one that talks about an action being ongoing. Now, this particular one is talking about an action that is or that was ongoing. Therefore, whenever you are considering this, make sure that the verb, the auxiliary verb to come before it is either is, are, was, were. These are the words that must go with this. This you have something like he, let's say, he is being difficult, or they are being expensive. Now, what this means, he is being difficult. It means that his being difficult is a continuous something. It is progressive. This action is still happening. Now, that's his state of being difficult is still in progress. Now, therefore, this being is used when the action or the state you're talking about is continuous. It is still happening. It is still being prolonged. This is when you refer to, this is when you make use of this. It must go with one of these. It must go with one, either is, are, was, or were. It must go with one of these. All right. Now, but when you are making use of this being, B-E-E-N here, you cannot bring it together with any of these things that you have here. When you are talking about this one, it goes with verbs here. It must pick something from here. This one is a verb in the perfect tense form. You also remember we talked about perfect tense. The being you have here is in the perfect tense, and the perfect tense talks about the action that has been accomplished as at a particular time that is being considered. All right. Now, for the being here, it goes with, like I said, it goes with have, has, or had. This is why you have something like you have been disturbing. You have been disturbing. What you see here is in the perfect progressive tense. That is what you have here. In the perfect progressive tense. Whenever you want to make use of this, it must go with one of these. You have something like she has been there. She has been there before. She has been there before. She has been. I don't know if you understand something. Now, this is in the perfect tense form of this particular verb. Now, when you make use of this, it must go with one of these. You can see where you have had, and you can see something like you can have something like this. My father had been in the classroom teaching long before you entered. My father had been. This one is going with this. This particular sentence you are looking at is in the past tense perfect, progressive tense form of this of the verb. Now you must bring together this had and been, or has and been, or have and been. So in conclusion, always know that been, this particular one, been, would always go with is, was, were, and are, whereas this one would always go with this. That is how you know which one to use at a particular time. And I believe at the end of this that it is never going to confuse again. Thank you.